We're less than 12 hours away from a new year. We've got just enough time left for one more episode. Let's get this thing started.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Wally, one half of the Undisputed Champion Show, and you are now tuned in to In or Out Sports Debate with my dog, Drew Willingham. Let's go!
LegacyMaker, the All Sports Network, presents a SIRTOBA media production where the struggle is real to be awesome.
5, 4, 3, 2.
The wait is over.
Hello, everyone. We are live with another episode of the In or Out Sports Debate. And here's your host, Drew Willingham, along with this week's special guest, son of pro wrestling Mid-South Wrestle Star and legend, the Golden Boy Greg Anthony, representing the Golden Circle, Xander Kid NBA Anthony.
Hello, everyone. We are live for another episode of the In or Out Sports Debate. I am your host, Drew Willingham, along with this week's special returning panelist. 45 episodes later, the Kid NBA historian is back from episode 21. Everyone, please welcome back the Kid NBA historian himself, Xander Anthony. Welcome back there, man.
Yep.
That awesome
Happy
background
to be
he's
back.
got, ladies and gentlemen. That's a very, very detailed, man. So definitely glad that you are back. And we've got a lot of great topics to cover in this show there, young man. And we got to acknowledge something before we get started. And that is the Vault of Fame.
Acknowledge me.
This is why this show is so important, and this is why I am personally validating and vouching for this show. If you are anybody in media, sports, professional wrestling, anything, you need to be on In or Out Sports Debate with my man, Drew Willingham.
That right there is the first 63 episodes of the In or Out Sports Debate. Episode 64 recently was the 4-wide edition just before Christmas, as well as last week's episode 65 with the Trios edition previously with Michael Bish and Cody Stewart for their third appearances each. And Joey Raymond here for the 10th time for episode 65. To find all those episodes, you can go to the LegacyMaker Sports Network's handles on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and the new TikTok channel as well. And you can find out the latest on LegacyMakerSports.com. You can check out the In or Out Sports Debate on the video platforms listed here as well on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Twitch, as well as the audio platforms on Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Prime, Anchor.fm, and you can download them individually on iTunes. You can also check out the video production brand that brings this to you as well on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the new YouTube channel coming soon. Find out the latest for that as well on SIRTOBA.com. We are back for episode 66 with the one and only Kid NBA historian Xander Anthony. We have got 5 awesome topics to get started with here in a second. And with that being said, let's go ahead and take this into round 1 and talk a little bit of NBA action.
Round 1.
And here with round 1, Xander, Devin Booker's injury will have a major impact on the Phoenix Suns' playoffs hopes this season. How do you feel about this one? Are you in or are you out on this one?
I'm a little out on this one, I'll tell you. All right, so my thing about this is the Suns have a very deep team. Like, their rotation can go down to the 12th or 13th spot, considering how deep their team is. So Devin Booker like Devin Booker being injured wouldn't like make it, because they're like the 3rd seed right now. It'll probably drop to probably 6th. It won't put him in the play-in, but it'll put him a little low because he's not out. He's out for like a good month. So right when he comes back, they're gonna get right back on like where they were before. So I don't feel like it's really gonna change much. It's gonna keep the Suns how the Suns been rolling.
That's definitely a good take on that. I definitely agree with you on that. I'm out on this as well. When you put all this in perspective, just like Xander said, I mean, they've got a deep team with a very deep roster. They should definitely at least be able to keep things at around 500 for them, until he gets back. When he comes, it's only a 4-week injury, 4-week groin injury. It's not the end of the world. I feel like that within that time frame, even though Chris Paul's had his woes with what he's had, he's aging as well. It's just a miracle that he's still out there with the amount of injuries that he sustained in his career. But Devin Booker, with if 4 weeks is not that bad. Now, if it was the entire season or like 2 or 3 months, then that's a completely different scenario that you got to look at. 4 weeks max, I feel like that they can keep this team afloat until he comes back. That's why I'm out on this. We still got plenty of time left in this NBA season.
For sure. I feel the same way.
Absolutely. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take this into a little bit of football and talk about another team that Xander knows very well.
Round 2.
And here with round 2, the San Francisco 49ers should be concerned that their offense is flowing better with third-string quarterback Brock Purdy than their starter, Trey Lance. How do you feel about this one? Are you in or are you out on this one?
I'm in. So I'm a Niners fan, so I watch all their games. And Brock Purdy, he's a great fit for the team considering being the last pick in the whole NFL draft. And Trey Lance, he's very mobile. He's not as great as a thrower and like with his vision. Garoppolo's more of a stay in the pocket thrower, so it makes it where he has to look and he has to pitch it off to McCaffrey. But Brock Purdy can do all the things that they're lacking, and he's been doing what he needs to be doing. And that's why they've like on a good 4-game winning streak, if I'm not wrong. It might be like a 7. They haven't lost a game in forever. The last game they lost was probably like the Falcons. So they've been on a roll, and it's just been great. And then I don't think they had Debo last game. They still got a pretty good dub against the Commanders, if I'm not wrong. So yeah.
Pour the salt in my wound a little bit more, my man, with that Commanders take. Because, unfortunately, I'm a fan of the formerly known as REDSKINS, the ones that barely have a name, and I call them the Commies. But, yes, you got to win, and you were close. You said you came towards the end instead of 7-game winning streak. They're actually on an 8-game winning streak. So, congrats to you, your dad, and all the 49er fans, and even Snowman, who I do the Sports Senseis Unleashed with, who is an overly homer for the 49ers. I give you your props. If my hat was on, it would be off for you right now. However, when it comes to this take, and when it comes to being more concerned about that, I got to agree with you as well on this. I'm in on this. They put a lot of great points out there with, how each one of these quarterbacks kind of differentiates from the other. Brock Purdy is more like Jimmy G than he is Trey Lance, because Trey Lance is a very mobile quarterback. And we've also seen that in a very short time, he already got banged up a little bit before that last injury that took him out for the entirety of the season. So you got to think about the health of your quarterback. You've had Brock Purdy in there for now over a month, nearly 2 months now, and he's been sustainably better than the other quarterbacks at a much younger age. The bigger part of this story is he's a Mr. Irrelevant pick. So he's the last pick of a draft. If he goes and wins a Super Bowl, people are going to be comparing him to one Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II. Had to catch myself so that way I don't give myself a heart attack, as you guys have watched throughout the entirety of these 60 live episodes this year. So when you think about everything that has been in the way of the San Francisco 49ers this year, they've gone from 1 to 2, now the 3 quarterback. They've had injuries at multiple positions, with Debo being out as well. That offensive line has been what's holding these quarterbacks upright for the most part. I feel like no matter where Trey Lance would have played at, that injury would have happened, just like the things we've seen with Tua in Miami. So when you think about having somebody that's healthy enough to play the quarterback position, they might be looking at Brock Purdy, because I don't think that this team is going to treat their backup quarterback situation like the Philadelphia Eagles did when Nick Foles won a Super Bowl for them. I'm not out here saying you're going to win a Super Bowl, and I'm the furthest one from saying that, because I've been one of the ones saying that the 49ers might get to the NFC Championship, but they're not going to make it to the Super Bowl. As each passing week goes on, I'm starting to lean a little bit more that they might make it to the Super Bowl, but I feel like if they face someone like the Chiefs, they're not going to win it. What do you think?
I can see the Chiefs because we're not great against the Chiefs. We've always been bad against them, as you've seen for the past couple of years. Mahomes is just that guy. If you don't know, he got that dog in him. But but if we don't run into him, we're totally fine. I can see us winning that. And every other team we can beat without a doubt. It just matters how our team plays.
I got to at least give you more credit than the Minnesota Vikings. They have been getting exposed at multiple points throughout this year. When they started off hot and everybody's like, yeah, the Vikings are going to be the team to beat in the NFC. I'm like, no, man, they're definitely not going to be the team to beat. There have been some other good teams throughout, but the best team in the NFC right now, I mean, you've got the Eagles who are in the NFC East, and I feel like even though my team is in that division, and they're one of the best, they're probably the best division in football overall, I don't feel like they're stronger than the 49ers. I feel like if it's the Eagles and the 49ers in the playoffs, the 49ers are going to win that matchup, because that defense is also a special defense as well.
It's out of this world.
Absolutely. We've gone through 2 topics so far in this episode, man. I've got some breaking news that we've got to actually share. Let's go ahead and take it into that real quick. And that breaking news is this. For the first time in quite some time, we got a Double Debate Monday this Monday. For episode 67, Rod Isaac will be joining me Monday at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Time for the first episode of the new year, followed by later that evening, the fellows from the wrestling realm, Brian H. Waters and brother Hugh Scott, will be here for the 5th installment of the Trios episode as well, Monday at 8:05 p.m. Eastern for episode 68. They should definitely be some 2 great episodes to be a part of. But we are still a part of one last great episode for 2022, and that is with young Xander Anthony. Let's go ahead and take this into round 3 and see what we got in store for that one.
Round 3.
And here with round 3, another team that Xander is quite fond of, and that is the Chicago Bulls. With that being said, the Chicago Bulls desperately need to make a trade soon. How do you feel about this one? Are you in or are you out on this?
I'm out. Okay, so we've seen the past 6 games. They're 5-1 the past 6 games. They beat the Bucks in overtime, still with Giannis having 40. So they just got to get their team together like they used to as of last season when they were first in the conference a couple times during that whole season. But all they got to do is kind of bring the team together, make sure when DeRozan plays good, LaVine also plays good, because it's been kind of mismatch. Because when LaVine has 40, DeRozan's going to have probably 15 to 20. When DeRozan has 40, LaVine has 15 to 20. But if they both get to that 30 point, if they both put a good 27 each like they used to last season, I can see them going all the way to first through 3 or 5. But they're a very deep team also. They got Andre Drummond come off the bench and playing about 5 to 7 minutes a night, even though I believe he's an all-star back when he played for Detroit. But overall, their team's very deep, and I feel like they could probably make it 2nd, 3rd round. If they put the team all together, I could see them getting close to the finals, but they have to go through the Celtics to get there. But yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens when you put all that in perspective in the way that you threw it out there. And I know you're out on this, man, but for the first time in this show, we're going to disagree. I am in! Oh, yeah. I said I'm in.
What?
I said I'm in.
What?
I'm going to tell you one more time I'm in.
What?
And now Samuel L. Jackson's getting upset.
Say what again? Say what again?
Sorry, Sammy, but I gotta say that I am in, and the reason why you're 16-19, just like you've got the Warriors struggling, you've got the Lakers struggling at this point in the year. I don't see this team getting to that point, like what you were saying, and you had a great take. I respectfully declined in this case, even though I was being a little bit throwing some comedic humor in there. But I gotta say, with this, you got Zach LaVine, who's not really feeling this team right now at 16-19. You can see it written all over his face when he's playing that there is just some type of physical negativity that is coming out. It could be something that's going on in the locker room, but the body language is speaking enough to me, the record speaking enough to me, just like people want to throw Russell Wilson under the bus in Denver for football. You got to throw this man under the bus. And if trading him gets you enough pieces in return that can accommodate Lonzo Ball, they can accommodate DeMar DeRozan, Gordon Dragic, the other people on your team that you still have great value that can be good core pieces around you, Zach LaVine might be the one that you might need to trade to get those pieces back to put you where you want to be.
My boy had 40 last night. Come on now. My boy had 40 last night.
He doesn't agree. Hey, guys, let us know in the comments how you feel about that. But before we get any further, I want to show something real quick, and that is a little promo that we have for a show that we have on Mondays. There you go, guys. We've got the Sports Senseis Unleashed Mondays at 1:05 p.m. Eastern. I'll pop that graphic up here. Myself and the Snowman, Brian Snow, will bring you episode 3 this Monday, 1:05 p.m. Eastern, 12 o'clock p.m. 12 o'clock p.m. Central Time. So with that said, we've got a few comments we got to acknowledge here. Fans keep bringing those comments in. As we are at the midway point of this show, let's go ahead and acknowledge what they have to say. So far, it looks like we've got one commenter, and he's been someone that's been popping up through the last few episodes. It's someone that I actually made a special video for. Let's go ahead and give him his own introduction in the way of a Disturbed song.
Ike doesn't give a fuck. Fuck.
That's a cool name. I like that name. Good job, Ike, for being here with a cool name. And those comments are this. He first starts off with, yo. Well, yo, back to you, Ike. Thank you for dropping in. 49ers to the Super Bowl. Well, based on his reaction to that, Xander did. I am out. Sorry, guys. Go ahead and give him some love there, Xander. I know you want to say something to Ike about that.
Ike's a W. Ike's a W.
Well, I don't think you're going to say that about this. He says Bulls suck.
I don't like you anymore, man.
And then he comes back with Go Heat. So, Ike, I mean, I guess we can agree with that because I like the Miami Heat as well. So there you go. Thank you for saving it with me, Ike. But the Super Bowl, you are, I don't know what's going on. I think you're enjoying New Year's Eve a little too early there, my man. And then he comes back with he doesn't like basketball.
Okay, then now I know why he's a Heat fan. Got it.
I think The Rock needs to come up here and say something to you.
You should know your role and shut your mouth.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Because, come on, we got the kid NBA historian in here. We are talking basketball. I think Chris Jericho needs to say something to you as well.
Would you please shut the hell up?
Even the Michigan State crowd is fully behind us. Well, guys, that does it for the midway point of the show with the comments. Keep them coming, whether it's Ike or anybody else. Thank you out there for the participation here on New Year's Eve. Let's go ahead and take this into the next round, my man. Let's take this into round 4.
Round 4.
And here with round 4, the By the Numbers segment, with us being here at episode 66. We've got Ray Nitschke as the greatest athlete to ever wear the number 66 in all of sports history. After looking this up, man, how do you feel about this one? Do you agree? Are you in or are you out on this one?
I'm out.
Xander's out.
So I believe that Billy Shaw, in my opinion, is the best to wear number 66. He won 2 American League championships while he was with Buffalo, and I just feel like he's like one of the best O-linemen I've seen personally watching clips from back then in the 60s. But yeah, he's a athlete. He knows how to block. He's that guy. So that's why I got him on top.
You know, you bring a very good name to the table with that, man, and it's pretty tough, and especially with what you threw out there for the Buffalo Bills. But again, I disagree. I'm going to go in. Ray Nitschke, a 5-time NFL champion, 61, 62, 65, 66, and 67 for a three-peat towards the latter part of his career, played in 3 different decades, 1958 to 1972. Hall of Famer, part of the NFL 1960s All-Decade team. He went to his only Pro Bowl in 1964. He's part of the 50th anniversary all-time team. He's part of the NFL 75th anniversary all-time team. Packers Hall of Fame, his number 66 is retired. And the man at the position that he played, a middle linebacker back in that day, had 2 touchdowns and 25 interceptions during that time frame of that career. I'm sorry, I got to disagree. You did bring a great name to the table, but Ray Nitschke, and especially for this graphic that we have, look at this one picture. Look at the bottom left-hand corner. I even turned his tackle sideways. Look at how they were able to hit back in the day. Just hits him in the mouth. Like Pat McAfee says, in the mouth it looks like, in the face. Anyway, animated Nitschke for 66. Great graphic. I can't prop myself up too much, but I still think it's a great graphic. That's why I gotta disagree. I'm out. I'm out on your opinion for this one.
I respect that. I respect that. He did play for the Packers, who were a great team back then. Like, how much have they won? Like, it was a lot back. They won the first ever one. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kept going, and that's our boy got that.
Yep, they were the powerhouse. They were probably the Packers at one point. To the majority of fans of other teams in the NFL, people probably despised them at one point like they did the New England Patriots. However, they weren't nationally covered for cheating like the Patriots have been over the course of their past 2 decades, where at least half of their Super Bowls have controversy around it. So, if not more than that. So, it is what it is. We definitely can cover that in the next topic here. But before we go to that next topic, you know, Xander's been a part of some really good history for this year, for this show, the In or Out Sports Debate. We've definitely been making some strides throughout this year, and we wouldn't be able to do it without the fans. And with that being said, I want to take a second to show you guys a look into the first 50 episodes that got us to this point.
5, 4, 3, 2.
The wait is over.
Hello, everyone. We are live with episode 15 of the In or Out Sports Debate.
You took me back. This is why this show was so important, and this is why personally validating and vouching for this show. If you are anybody in media, sports, professional wrestling, anything, you need to be on In or Out Sports Debate with my man Drew Willingham, because this has got to be one of the most fun things I've ever done in a long time.
And I'll say this too quickly for the In or Out Sports Debate Show. Whenever there is a debate show like this involving Drew Willingham, is he the winner? Is the guest the winner? No, the winner is America for experiencing the joy that is the In and Out Sports Debate Show.
I know that in myself, and I'd be naive to say there wasn't any growth from watching the first episode to now episode 49. And it takes the other end of it as well, whether it's one person like Joey who's here, or when we have trios episodes and it's multiple people. It takes teamwork to make the dream work. So with my final word, I want to thank all of you. That's why we have a Vault of Fame. That's why I acknowledge you all at the beginning of the show and induct you at the end for those of you who are currently here, because without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. Thank you very much for everything. That's right, guys. That is a look at the first 50 episodes that we had of this show, and 60 episodes for this year. Started this year back in April as far as with this show, bringing it back from the 5 episodes we had done prior, and now 60 episodes up to this point that we're live. Now, this is the 60th live episode. This is 61 episodes, my apologies, for this year, as we are now at episode 66. So, Xander, thank you again for being here for the second time this year. We've got another round to cover. One more round. That is the final round. Let's go ahead and see what we got to cover for that one.
Final round.
And here for the final round, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II needs to retire upon the conclusion of this season. How do you feel about this one? Are you in or are you out on this one?
I'm in. It's Tom Brady. He's proved everything he needs to be that he has. He's done everything he needs to do. Most football fans believe he's the best to ever do it. And if not, they probably just don't like him. So my thing behind that is Tom Brady is the guy. He's did that. He's done everything he needs to do. He needs to go home and chill with his kids. That's my thought. But yeah.
Especially with the way that that divorce happened, throughout the offseason leading into this season that we actually have for this one. With everything I've said about the person, as I'll get to here in a second, I agree with Xander. I'm in as well. Oh, when we sit here and we talk about one
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II.
The man has thrown 6 interceptions in the past 3 games. That's a lot of interceptions in years where he didn't even throw 6 interceptions in the entirety of a year. The man has thrown 6 interceptions in the past 3 games, 7 in the past 4, and 8 within the past 6 games. Now, going up to that point, and this is what's crazy to think about. Going into this point, he hadn't thrown an interception since week 1 at the Cowboys. He had gone almost, 2 months without throwing an interception, until you think about the fact that he's thrown 7 interceptions in the last 4 games and 8 within the last 6. That's a lot of interceptions for someone to throw. The man is 45 years old, but the pressure is coming right now. When you think about the teams that he's played the Cardinals on Christmas, the Bengals on the 18th, the 49ers, which is what started the debacle of this. I think they might have got to him a little bit too much, because that was the first of the past 3 games where he threw 2 interceptions a game. So his QBR was down to 71 in the past game, which was his worst since being in the 49er game. He hasn't been terrible throughout the year. This team has just been atrocious around him. The offensive line is not the same as what it once was. So when you compare and contrast what the team did back in 2020, a pandemic year where there was different protocols, it was kind of like the Lakers winning in 2020 as well. It was not quite the bubble, but it did have some bubble-esque feel to how that Super Bowl went down and certain things that transpired leading up to that game. So I wouldn't say that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been, exposed. They've lost a lot of key pieces. Now, could Tom Brady go to another team next year, like, the 49ers or another team that could keep him upright in the pocket because he is a Statue of Liberty? And could he have success? Yes. But from what Xander was just on here saying, talking about the man needs to go retire and be with his family, I mean, it's evident. He's 45 years old. He spent over half of his life in the NFL. That's just how it is. So, what are you showing me?
Niners versus Buccaneers, 35-7. Let's go, baby. How you let Brock Purdy have 21 points on you in one quarter?
I mean, that's definitely how it was. I mean, that's definitely how it was there on the 11th. But people still can't say that Brock Purdy is better than Tom Brady has ever been. Okay.
Yeah, he is.
Maybe right this second for his
right now.
Yeah, but the stat just came out. I think it was yesterday or the day before, where literally it's been the same amount of time. Like Tom Brady has literally spent half of his life in the NFL now, because it was like 8,000 and some odd days from when he was born to when he went to the draft. And it's been that same amount of days since then from when he was drafted to now. So that's insane to think that you have spent that much of your life as a mostly starting quarterback, because we already know how he came into the position with Drew Bledsoe. But it is just we're never going to see that again. People cherish the last couple weeks. It could be the last couple weeks that you see the greatest of all time, because like Xander said, you are not acknowledging him as the greatest of all time unless you just don't like him as a person.
Indeed. But you can't get dooted on by somebody for the last pick of the draft like that. That was just wrong. Like, I went to my room, I come back, and they're down by 30. I'm just confused. Like, how did this happen?
Hey, that 49ers team is something special, as we talked about in round 2. They've got a stellar offensive line. The defense is playing phenomenal. And when you got weapons like Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey leading the way, I mean, there's no excuse for you not to be at the top of the division right now.
Yeah,
so
it was crazy. I just look at the game, and I just see Christian McCaffrey. I'm like, when did we get Christian McCaffrey? Because nobody told me. It was like the day after he went to the team, he played a game. So I just I'm watching the game. I'm like, who is this guy? And I just look, and it's just McCaffrey. I'm like, I was happy though. So
yeah, he's got a different number because I think 22 was taken or whatnot for the team. 23. So yeah, he's 23. But it took him a few games to get acclimated into the offense. But once he really started getting acclimated, and Kyle Shanahan definitely knows how to use him. And he worked with his dad before, Ed McCaffrey. The Shanahans worked with him before when they were a part of the Denver Broncos, and they won 2 Super Bowls back to back with John Elway, because Ed McCaffrey was a receiver there, but also played for that one year that they won a Super Bowl in '94 with Steve Young. So, in which Shanahan was the offensive coordinator then. So the Shanahan's family has a great, tremendous history with the McCaffreys, and to be able to pull that trade off with Carolina, bring him in before he was completely damaged goods, because his years in Carolina, he's had some great moments, but he has been injury prone because that team didn't have a team around him to protect him. Now he's on a team that can protect him. You've got a lot of great potential, kid, but I have to be the one that tries to humble you a little bit and bring you back down to earth a little bit, because everybody's like, 49ers Super Bowl, just like Ike, okay? Then he says he doesn't like basketball. So how can you take what he says seriously?
You're not wrong. But I'm with Ike with that little situation. The rest, I don't like Ike, but I like Ike for that.
Well, at least we could say this to what Ike was saying.
Hell to the no, no. Hell no, to the no.
Ike, you got us off the rails again there, sir. So
yeah,
thank you, Bishop Bullwinkle, for that hell no. So
it was a little random. He's like, Bull suck. I don't like basketball though, so it was.
Oh man. Well, guys, before we get too much further, I want to show a little bit of a clip of a show that we got coming up here as well. This is one last promo, but this one is for something that's very special to me that I'm looking forward to getting started in January.
LegacyMaker, the all sports network, presents a SIRTOBA media production where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Acknowledge me. You should know your role and shut your mouth!
Yeah, man. So the show there, the Kayfabe Express, will be coming out next month in January. Here's that logo to pop back up again. Looking forward to having some guests on there to talk some wrestling, but to also cover some wrestling news as well. So definitely we'll be getting that out to you guys here soon. Before we get to the latter part of the show, I've got to acknowledge something, just like we did at the beginning, and that is another part of the Vault of Fame.
Acknowledge me.
And that is this. Xander Anthony is now a two-time Vault of Fame inductee for the In or Out Sports Debate for this year, especially for 2022. Let's go ahead and show the leaderboard update with that. We got Rob Johnson still in first with 12 appearances, Joey Raymond with 10, James Brown with 4, a four-way tie, well, actually a five-way tie for fourth place with Cody Stewart, Darrell Owens, Corey Mann, Michael Bish, and P. Alexander Wally. And now Xander Anthony joins his father Greg here for the fifth place tie with 2 appearances apiece. Coming up next, as mentioned, episode 67 next Monday, 4:05 p.m. Eastern with Rod Isaac. Is followed by later that evening, episode 68 with Brian H. Waters and brother Hugh Scott of the Wrestling Realm. Again, guys, you can find all this on the LegacyMaker Sports Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and TikTok. You can see the other video platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Twitch for this show, as well as the audio platforms on Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Prime, Anchor.fm, and you can download them individually on iTunes. SIRTOBA.com is the video production brand for The Struggle is Real to Be Awesome. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and coming soon on YouTube. And one more quick shout out for the Sports Senseis Unleashed next Monday at 1:05 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to throw a little tippy to this guy right here, donations are accepted via Cash App at DWilly87. But we are back, though, for episode 67 with the one and only Xander Kid NBA Anthony as we get ready to take this into the final word to discuss what is on our mind for this year's episode in sports. Let's go ahead and take it into that final word. Just like before there, Xander, before this episode 66, when you were here for episode 21, out of anything we talked about here on this show or just anything in sports or life in general, feel free to get off your chest there, man, with this final word.
Niners to the Super Bowl. Stop playing one boy Brock Purdy. Yeah, Super Bowl MVP Brock Purdy finna be there. Stop playing. Straight like that.
Yeah! Fire!
I can't believe you just came on here with your final word and you wasted it on that.
What?
Absolutely.
What?
I'm serious.
What?
All right, it's my turn. Kid, come on now. Don't take this into the extreme with the 49ers. You know, I bring you back on here last episode of the year, and you just straight throw the 49ers to the Super Bowl with your final word. I'm just kidding. But anyway, with my final word, I want to take it into this, man. I can't thank you guys enough for all of you. We've had over 30, 33 panelists or whatnot on here with multiple appearances this year. 66 total episodes, 61 for this year. Like, Thanksgiving was last month, but I've spent like the entire month of December just thanking you guys on every episode because it takes 2 to 3 to 4 people sometimes in trios and quads episodes that we've had to make this thing happen. I can write it out. I can make the graphics, but unless you guys show up and deliver, this isn't possible. So thank you all again to Xander, to everyone, his dad, everybody else who have been on this show, who have helped produce content for me. Because now that we've got over 66 episodes, it's like 66, 67 hours of content that I've got between all those episodes. So without you guys, again, this wouldn't be possible. I'm using my final word to go into this. But we do have one thing that I want to get off here before we get out of here that I did kind of skim over. And that is, we got some comments that we need to acknowledge before we rock on out of here. And that is for the Mayhem Culmination. Ike is back. And
Oh, dear.
Ike says, y'all boys tripping on me.
Okay.
Stay off the weed.
Obviously, Ike, please. Like, come on, man. Like, then Rod from the Uncensored podcast, who was here for episode 67, jumps in and says, what's up? Well, what's up, Rod? Look forward to having you here for episode 67. And you would definitely see how that goes here on Monday. But Ike actually responds to Rod and says this: Sup, Rhino Rod, bruh. Not sure what's up with the Rhino Rod. Maybe Rod could answer that if he even knows what's up with that. Rhino Rod, what is up with that? Well, guys, we've covered an entirety of an episode 66 here with Xander Anthony has been back for the final one for 2022. So thank you all for being here. Thank you again there, Xander. And we have one final thing to look at before we get on out of here, and that is one badass outro for the Kid NBA historian, Xander Anthony. I am Drew Willingham. Have a happy and safe New Year this evening, everybody.